This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. 15 people are dead and over 20 remain injured after two shooters opened fire at a Hanukkah event in a targeted attack on the Jewish community in Sydney, Australia. Sky News correspondent Jonathan Lee from Sydney provides details of the shooters and the funerals of the victims.
We had the first of three funerals for the victims, two of them rabbis. Another was the gentleman who resorted to throwing a rock at one of the gunmen. Remember, we had a father and son terror team. He resorted to throwing a brick at one of the gunmen and unfortunately paid for his life. The gunman who survived, the 24-year-old Naveen Akram, he's been charged from his bed. We can tell you it's 15 counts of murder, 40 counts of causing wounding with intent to murder, public displays of terrorism symbols. There was an ISIS flag in the window of the car and another one which was homemade, and placing explosives with intent to cause harm.
Nick Reiner charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the death of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, in Los Angeles. He's facing charges that could put him behind bars for life, but L.A. District Attorney Nathan Hochman isn't ruling out the death penalty.
These charges will be 2 counts of first-degree murder with the special circumstance of multiple murders. He also faces a special allegation that he personally used a dangerous and deadly weapon, that being a knife. These charges carry a maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. No decision at this point has been made with respect to the death penalty.
Criminal defense attorney Josh Ritter says Reiner's lawyers may try to focus on saving him from the death penalty.
Well, this early on, it's hard to tell, but it does look like at least some sort of mental health defense is going to be at play here. He's being evaluated right now. It's unclear if that's strictly a mental health evaluation, but that was part of the reason that he missed out in court yesterday. He was not medically cleared.
Today, the House votes on another Republican health care plan. Texas Congressman Lance Gooden tells us what they'll be voting on.
You know, the House plan for this health care bill, we expect it to pass today. It brings cost reductions to the Affordable Care Act. It provides transparency for these pharmacy benefit managers where we don't know why these prescription drugs are as high as they are. There is clarity to that. But what at the end of the day Democrats want is they want an extension of COVID-era tax subsidies that have done nothing but increase costs not only to the American people but to the health care program that has been failed since they passed it. Democrats have not been serious about a real solution. They don't want to bring costs down. They don't want accountability. They don't want to eliminate fraud. They want to be sure that the taxpayers pay for abortions all across the United States.
Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville says he considers Islam a cult and stands by his decision to oppose the proposed expansion of an Islamic school in the Birmingham area. Chad Groening has more.
Tuberville wants to be Alabama's next governor. And recently, the Islamic Academy of Alabama dropped its plans to relocate to the suburb of Hoover after residents and Tuberville convinced the city's Planning and Zoning Commission to reject the request. During an InfoWars podcast, Tuberville didn't pull any punches.
Islam is not a religion. It's a cult, and their cult believes in totally different things we believe in. They don't believe in Americans, kill the infidel, do away with everything that we believe in. They hate Christians. So I'm saying they don't belong here. Let's pack them up and send them home.
And Tuberville stands by the decision in Hoover.
There's a small school that's a Muslim school in that area. They want a larger area where they can build a bigger school and bring in more young people to teach them the Muslim faith. I'm a senator right now, and I'm going to fight it. In a year, I'll be the governor. We're going to protect the people of Alabama. We're going to protect our Constitution. We're going to protect our state. We're going to protect our country.
Tuberville says when told that the Radical Council on American Islamic Relations called him an anti-Muslim extremist, he called it a, quote, badge of honor. I'm Chad Groening.
Tuesday on Wall Street, stocks of oil companies weighed on the market after the price for U.S. crude oil fell to the lowest level since 2021. More news online at afn.net and the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
The American Family Association's mission is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of our culture. Our goal is to be a leading organization in biblical worldview training for cultural transformation. We stand on the biblical truth that all human beings, including the unborn, are created in the image of God and are endowed by Him with the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Today's Wednesday, December the 17th, 2025. We thank you for listening. I'm Tim Wildmon, and in studio with me today is Tony Vitagliano. Good morning, Brother Tony.
Good morning.
Your dad, Ed, is he off to 2026?
He has sailed away. Yeah. Not to see him. We won't see him until next year.
Next year. I think he's coming in
It's coming up Trivia Friday.
Trivia Friday. Good morning, Fred Jackson.
Good morning to you, Tim.
And Chris Woodward.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Chris. So, for those of you watching on the internet, watch YouTube, Facebook, or our own streaming service. What is our streaming service, Tony?
Yeah, you can go to stream.afa.net, stream.afa.net, watch the video stream there.
Yeah.
You can listen to us on afr.net or the AFR app.
So this week at our offices, our HR department decided to have a fun thing every day for our staff to participate in.
Mm-hmm.
And today wasn't today like costume day or something like that, or dress up your favorite?
I would hope it is.
Favorite Christmas movie character day.
Anyway, my wife last week, she said, "Hey, you're going to participate in this. I'm going to order you something on their internet," as Ed calls it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're watching, guess who I am? I am none other than. Go ahead.
Well, Clark Griswold.
Clark Griswold. We got the sweater, the tie, and the hat. I'm not going to wear the hat much longer here because I'm not going to make y'all look at that the whole show. But anyway, so Clark Griswold, Christmas vacay.
We need to get you like one of those moose-shaped eggnog mugs like he has in the film.
Yeah. And we need one of y'all to come in next year, at least if I do this again, as Cousin Eddie.
Back it up, yeah. I think Ed. We just
well,
go ahead and volunteer him.
We'll
volunteer
get your dad
him. He's not here.
Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, I think he needs to be
give him a
Cousin
pair
Ed.
of white shoes for Christmas.
You got to have the white Dickies with the no. It was the black Dickie under the white sweater.
Or the scene where he's doing the waist from the. From the RV the RV.
The RV.
Our HR director actually did that one time in a Christmas card, I think, with another employee here that works in marketing. They were wearing the robe and the hat and everything.
I just like this. That's real nice, Clark.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Real nice.
Well, Tim, to your point, we also have Tom Hanks wandering through the halls here today.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, man.
From Polar Express.
I have a picture. I'll post it.
Yeah,
if you want
if Bronson doesn't care.
Oh, no, he won't.
I don't think he cares. Because
I posted a picture of himself and me yesterday in our Christmas.
Yeah, one of our staff here, Bronson, in the news department, he goes
all out.
All out, man, every day. He is a head to toe, and he's a big rascal, like 6'4" or something like that.
And literally today it's head to toe.
Yeah, and he's got the costume on of
Polar Express.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks in Polar Express.
It is on our Today's Issues Facebook page now.
It is,
and that costume that doesn't look like Amazon
Let me see that.
cheapo special. That looks like
as we speak.
But let me. Yeah, I mean, he has got it going on now. You got to give him credit for that.
Well, I asked him this morning where did you get this?
Polar Express.
So he ordered some parts, and some parts he added himself. But it is excellent.
It is.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
He's got it down.
You think he's going to go out to lunch with that Polar Express outfit on?
I will make him.
I don't know. You're kind of trapped.
Lunch.
Somebody needs to follow him around. That's right. And videotape that, make a documentary.
That's right.
Or something like
that. The local TV stations will be saying, Tom Hanks is in Tupelo.
Things you don't think about when you dress up fully as the conductor from Polar Express. I have to go other places besides work. So
what's funny is he does the news video for us, and he has brought a change of clothes to be able to do the news video because it's kind of hard to take him seriously when you're dressed like that.
Right.
The book.
Oh, okay.
All right, so before Chris gets into the news of the day, at the bottom of the hour, our friend Dr. Ed Holliday who is a Tupelo native. He is going to be with us in studio. He had a terrible experience I think it was earlier this year, where he got scammed.
Yeah, he sure did.
He got scammed out of a lot of money, and we're going to let him tell his story so maybe people can be more aware of scams out there that are there to try to drain your bank account, right?
Yep.
So we'll talk to Brother Ed coming up, Ed Holliday coming up at the bottom of the hour. The book is called Crypto Conned that he wrote about this. It's a short book. I read it, but it's a warning to all.
Yep.
All right, you're listening to today's Issues on American Family Radio. Chris, what is our first story?
Well, President Donald Trump is going to have a primetime address tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central to sell his agenda. This will be various topics, including the economy. Remember, last week, President Trump spoke in Pennsylvania, where he talked about how he has helped lower prices, and he will continue to help lower prices as more of his economic agenda gets put into place. So tonight is basically a continuation of that, and quite frankly, it's going to be something I think we're going to see over the next several weeks or the next few months gearing up for the midterm elections. To go with this, we've got some audio from his press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, talking about tonight's speech. Clip 1.
I hope your audience will tune in, and Americans across the country will tune in to hear from their president as well about the historic accomplishments that he has garnered for our country over the past year. If you look at the security of our border, if you look at stopping Joe Biden's inflation right in its tracks, bringing down gas prices to the lowest level in 5 years, President Trump will be talking about what's to come. The best is truly yet to come, as he often says. And so he'll be addressing the country about all of his historic accomplishments over the past year, and maybe teasing some policy that will be coming in the new year as well as we head into this Christmas season.
Okay, so President Trump speaking from the Oval Office tonight?
I think so.
That's rare. Presidents don't do that. Well, it's always been rare.
Mm-hmm.
It's only reserved for really maybe once a year, or some kind of announcement about a military action that we got engaged in, Tony. So it's rare.
Yeah, it is rare. He does have.
What do you think about what he's going to say tonight?
I think he'll tout the border, which he has done an excellent job with the border, securing it, cutting immigration almost nearly down to zero. I think he'll tout that, and the inflation. He'll talk about inflation and
good or bad.
He'll have a good report to give. He'll
he's not going to report any bad news.
No, not going to be any bad news. He's probably just going to, from what I can tell, probably just kind of tout some of the.
Okay, so let me just say this. I'm not saying this. I'm just reporting. I'm just the messenger here. I read a report last night where a majority of Americans believe that the economy is not doing well, and that, I know that's a generic phrase, not doing well, and that President Trump is not doing enough about it to improve it. That's the general theme, Fred, that's out there across the country. Fair or not, I'm the one who believes most presidents get too much blame and too much credit. They're kind of like quarterbacks. But as they say, perception, even if perception is reality in the minds of a lot of people. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I'm puzzled to a certain extent by some of this polling, and I know it depends on where they poll, all of that sort of thing. But just a little bit of anecdotal. I went to my favorite fill up my gas tank place this week.
Yeah.
$2.17 for regular gas.
Yeah.
Now, I know that's below the national average.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since regular gas was $2.17 in this town.
Yeah.
So if that is, and I can't say that's because of what Donald Trump has done.
He'll talk about that tonight, I'm sure.
Gas prices. But you remember how much in the way of economists tie the price of groceries to gas prices,
Right?
all of that sort of thing. So I think it is improving. Now, grocery prices, I have to admit, higher than last year still. But if gas prices are going to stay on their deceleration.
Yeah.
217 is, in my books, is absolutely incredible. I mean, if it gets down below $2,
yeah,
I can't remember the last time.
Well, the last time it did was, I believe, at the tail end of Trump's last presidency.
Yeah.
We got it just under $2.
Yep.
Yeah. Today's national average for a gallon of regular is $2.90, which is down from last month and last year. Diesel is also down from recent weeks. I would like to hear how we're going to do more in the way of maybe getting more diesel or putting more diesel fuel into the market, because I think that will help bring down the price of groceries further. Everything we buy is brought there by gasoline, as Fred pointed out.
Yeah, and I think that national average of $2.90, I blame California for that. Because you get off the plane in California, rent a car, and you go to a gas station. I mean,
it's like being on another planet.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what President Trump says tonight from the Oval Office about the. So the theme of the speech is going to be about the economy. Is that right?
Yeah,
it's supposed to be.
All right. All right. Well, we'll see what happens there. All right. You're listening to Today's Issues. What's the next story?
Well, I want to make sure that we get this one in, and we've got a couple of different sound bites to go over. But let's begin with this one. Tommy Tuberville, the senator from Alabama who wants to be the governor of Alabama, is one of the Republican lawmakers out there, and really just Americans, that are concerned about the rise of Islam throughout the United States. And Tommy Tuberville, Senator Tommy Tuberville, is concerned about the rise of Islam, specifically the rise of radical Islam, and he's sharing his concerns about that, as well as his efforts to maybe fight the spread of Islam in Alabama. Clip 5.
Islam is not a religion. It's a cult. And their cult believes in totally different things we believe in. They don't believe in Americans, kill the infidel, do away with everything that we believe in. They hate Christians. So I'm saying they don't belong here. Let's pack them up and send them home. There's a small school that's a Muslim school in that area. They want a larger area where they can build a bigger school and bring in more young people to teach them the Muslim faith. I'm a senator right now, and I'm going to fight it. In a year, I'll be the governor. We're going to protect the people of Alabama. We're going to protect our Constitution. We're going to protect our state. We're going to protect our country.
That was Phil Robertson there. It
sounded like it.
No, Phil Robertson. The late Phil Robertson. He passed away, but they sound very similar. He and Senator Tommy Tuberville there. What do you think about what he just talked about there, Tony?
I think he makes.
You pack them up and send them off.
I agree with the
sentiment.
As far as the execution of it, I think it's very problematic. However, I understand that we've had some terrible events here lately, and I think people are kind of getting to the point where you start espousing for things that a few years ago you would not have considered. So he's referring to, I'm assuming, either shutting down, in this particular instance, either shutting down the school or not granting them a larger area to grow.
There's been an Islamic school in Birmingham since 1995. The group there, the Islamic group, wanted to go to Hoover, which is a
part of Birmingham.
For larger property. And there was a good deal of controversy about it, and Senator Tuberville was asked about it, and what you heard was his response.
He didn't want to. He does not want them to have a larger area for a bigger school because he views Islam as a threat to our country.
Yes,
I mean you may disagree with that, but there's a lot of people who share that sentiment, as you just said, Tony. I will say this too. This is a complicated issue to handle for Americans and people in the West. What do I mean by that? Islam is not compatible with Western democracy. It's just not. Now you got a lot of Muslims who are nominal, who don't even know the Quran. They just their mom and dad they're Arab or they're Persian or whatever. Therefore, they're Muslim. but they're not really practicing. Those people are basically harmless.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the teaching of Islam, you must submit to the Quran and the teaching of Islam, not submit to the values of America or our Constitution or our way of life, that is Western society, particularly, American, Canadian, free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of movement, freedom to wear the kind of clothes you want to wear, all those things that I call it our way of life. And so if you have the spread of Islam, those things are going to be at odds with each other. And listen, in Europe, the Muslims have flooded into Europe from North Africa and from the Middle East, and they're threatening to change Europe altogether.
Yep.
And so we're not saying anything. Your dad is excellent on this in terms of his understanding of history and how Islam spreads and what they do when they get a majority control. Let's hear from this lady.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yesterday, I came across a video from. Do you have her name?
Yes, it's Siggy Flicker.
Okay, I was not familiar with her, but she's evidently an actress.
Yes, she's an Israeli-American podcaster.
She's an Israeli-American, and what I've just talked about, she expresses, talking about her concerns about the spread of Islam. Go ahead.
It's called world domination, and they have a very simple plan, and it's actually brilliant. It's infiltrate, populate, dominate, never assimilate, and then create a caliphate, and then bring upon Sharia law. It's the greatest threat to Western civilization. And if you notice, 85% of Muslim refugees, they don't go to other countries, their countries. They have 54 Muslim nations. You know why they come to Christian nations?
To change them.
And they do it by using our laws. Charlie Kirk said it best. Immigration without assimilation is an invasion. When I say that the world has a huge problem, and you've seen what happened in Europe, Europe has fallen, and we're too nice in America. We're letting people who come here who really don't love this country. I want to live in a country where everybody can practice the religion of their choice, but not have anybody threaten their right to exist or want to change this Christian nation that I'm living in.
Okay, when you say what she said, which is a more scholarly commentary than Senator Tubble's, which was basically raw and from the gut, and I'm not criticizing him. I'm just saying she's been watching this for a long time and studying it. But when you say what she said, or you say what I said earlier, which was a perfectly rational analysis of what Islam is and what it intends to do, you will be called an Islamophobe.
Right.
And you will be called that they will be called hate speech.
Yes.
Go ahead, Tony, and then Fred.
Yeah, because they're both saying the same thing. Senator Tuberville and this Siggy Flicker, is that her name?
Yeah,
they're both saying the same thing. The end result of Islam anywhere, if you are a fundamental practicing Muslim, is that everyone around you, you've mentioned this, must submit to Allah, submit to Islam. That is different than, for instance, Christians, a Christian population growing within your country, where the end result of, if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, if you're a devoted Christian, the end result is that you proselytize, you preach to those around you, you share the gospel with those around you, and whether they accept it or not is on them. You don't force it. There is no subjugation. Islam, the end result is you either submit or you die. So yeah, I 100% agree. It's not compatible with
that's
our
why these
Western
that's
values.
why these Muslims extremists yell Allah Akbar before they begin shooting people.
Yes,
because they're saying Allah Akbar means something about God. It's something in Arabic having to do with God. Allah Akbar. Great. God is great. God is great.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fred.
Well, and we have lots of examples right now of what Tommy Tupperville and this lady were talking about. Look at England. The mayor of London is not the only Islamic mayor, Muslim mayor. There are several now in England of communities. There are communities where Sharia law is practiced now in England. All right? So we're not exaggerating. We're not speculating anymore. The tragedy that just occurred in Australia, many people are pointing out the reason it was allowed to happen is because Australia has been extremely light on anti-Semitism. There have been synagogues, there have been firebombed. And the first reaction of the politician is, now let's be gentle here.
Right.
Let's not blame.
Don't be Islamophobic.
Yeah, right-wing extremism also. Yeah.
You don't judge the whole bunch by the actions of a few.
You look at Dearborn, Michigan, all right? Dearborn, Michigan now basically is a heavily populated Muslim area. They have a Muslim mayor. There was a Christian who was opposed to naming some streets after a terrorist. He went to the city council meeting. That video, I'm sure, is out there. And the mayor basically said, you're an Islamophobe. I'll be glad when you leave this city.
Yeah.
Right.
Where's the tolerance there?
Well, here's another, when I said complicated earlier on how to handle this, when you are you grow up with American values or Western values, same thing's taught in Canada, as I mentioned earlier, our way of life, it is true that you don't want to judge a group of people by the actions of a few. That is a value that we treasure, except white nationalism or white supremacists. Then we all get lumped into that.
Right,
they don't
right.
say just supremacists, they say whites.
Yeah.
But any other group you say Muslim terrorist, they go, wait a minute, no, there's just terrorist. It's not Muslim. You see how the double standard is, but I digress. But so it is true that you don't want to judge a group by the actions of a few, but when a few, quote, keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again, that is terrorist actions around the world, the vast majority of them are done by Muslim, I call them extremists. Then you have to start saying, well, why are these people doing this all the time? What's their motivation? Well, their motivation is a strict understanding of Islam and Muslim teaching. That's why what we call terrorists, a strict devoted Muslim would probably call heroes, because they're taking down the infidel being the Christian and the Jew. That's why in Iran they call the American is called the Great Satan.
Yep.
And Israel is the Little Satan. So we are to be destroyed. Why? Because in their eyes we're Satan.
Yeah.
So any more?
And why do you think within 48 hours after the massacre in Israel, October 7, 2023, we had hundreds of students on our university campuses, mostly up in the Northeast, on our universities, blaming Israel for what Hamas had just done to Israel? Why do you think that happened?
Yeah.
It's because of years of indoctrination in these schools to hate Israel.
Well, also, if you look at Islam around, we've got to go to a break. If you look at where Islam is dominant around the world, this lady you heard quoted earlier, there's no freedom of speech.
No.
Okay, there's no freedom of religion. There's no freedom of movement, things of that nature that we're accustomed to.
Yeah.
There's no Bill of Rights in Saudi Arabia. Okay.
No.
Or Afghanistan, where the Taliban rules supreme, and is where Islamic countries are, and they're dominant. That is that the Muslim that they control with their religion.
Yes.
That's it's in Iran. It's the mullahs.
Yeah.
The mullahs are the.
They came in. They came. Iran was
Ayatollah Khomeini.
Was a secular nation.
Yeah.
They came in and.
We'll be back momentarily with today's issues on the American Family Radio Network.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
Back many years ago, there were 12 men who shared a common bond. They joined themselves together for what they considered a great cause. It was, indeed, a revolutionary idea they had. It was also a revolutionary leader that they followed. With no weapon more powerful than a great cause, they set out to conquer the world. They carried no swords. They asked no material benefits. They expected to be scorned and ridiculed by the masses wherever they went. Yet from the very beginning they never swerved, never parted from that great cause to which they had pledged themselves. Lest we forget the impact of that cause upon those men, lest we forget what bound them together, lest we forget what was more powerful than the sword that they refused to carry, we need to remember what happened to those 12 men. One was named James. He was the brother of the leader of the 12. Another was also named James. He had a father who was named Zebedee. These 2 men carried the cause into the streets of the city where their group was meeting. Both men were met by angry mobs and were murdered because of their cause. Another man among the 12 was named Matthew. He had been a man of wealth prior to joining the cause and gave up financial security in order to become a member of the 12. He carried the cause to a little country called Ethiopia. There he was slain on a sword. He died for the cause. Philip was another of the 12. He came from a little city called Bethsaida, meaning the house of the fisher or the house of the hunter. He went fishing and hunting for men for the cause. He was hanged in Phrygia. Bartholomew was the unlikely name of another. Because of the cause, his skin was ripped from his body while he was still alive. Andrew, with his Greek name, was another of those pledged to the cause. He was crucified in Achaia. The cause deserved all he had. Thomas, often criticized for his doubts, left no doubt as to his loyalty to the cause. He carried it to East India, and there he was run through with a lance. Another was named Thaddeus. He was sometimes referred to as the other Judas. He gave it his all before he was shot to death with arrows. He was buried, legend says, in Beirut. There was Simon, a member of the Jewish nationalistic party, ready to die for his country against the hated Romans. Instead, he died for his cause. Like his leader, he was crucified. Persia was the place of death. Peter, perhaps the best known of the men, got as far as Rome with the cause. There he too was crucified. His request was to be crucified upside down. He did not consider himself worthy to die as his leader did. There was also Matthias, selected to fill the place of the one who betrayed the leader. He paid dearly for his decision to follow the cause. He was beheaded. The other of the men was named John. He was the brother of James, the son of Zebedee. He alone escaped death because of the cause. And still, someone says the Christian faith is free.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Jesus said, "Let the little children come to me, and do not hinder them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Matthew 19:14.
This is today's issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of today's issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of today's issues.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's issues on American Family Radio. Thanks for listening to AFR. And this is a live radio show you're listening to, so we could mess up and end our careers just by simply uttering something. No, Tim here with my guest in studio, Tony. Not my guest, my colleagues, Tony, Fred, and Chris. And again, we thank you for listening. Well, spammers and scammers are everywhere today, and we've all seen it or experienced it or been, some cases, sadly, been victims of scams. And we're going to talk to a gentleman today who's in studio with us, our friend Ed Holliday. Ed Doc, yes, he's been called Doc his whole life, and he knows why.
I saw Jonathan trying to get his autograph.
Well,
Jonathan Coker.
And he's not going to be your Huckleberry. Okay. Ed's a native of Tupelo. He was in the dentist profession for a long time. You still are.
Still are.
Still are. And a friend of ours wrote a book about a terrible experience that he had to go through. He went through. Was that earlier this year? That was earlier this year,
It was
wasn't
Valentine's 2025, earlier this year.
Okay.
Yes.
By the way, if you're wondering, Ed talks like us. So
God bless him.
Except for Fred.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn how to talk like Fred. I've never made it
Fred.
yet.
Fred, they leave a little Nova Scotia accent coming your way. But anyway, all right, Ed, your book is titled Crypto Con and My 200K Nightmare. And I talked to you about this a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about you coming on the radio to tell your story, to warn other people. Maybe not necessarily about crypto theft, although that's what your experience was, cryptocurrency theft, but also just how scammers work with social engineering and so forth and so on. So start with this. How'd you get involved in the cryptocurrency world first?
Well, I've been involved for about 8 years. It
Okay.
wasn't anything new to me, and I thought I was very secure doing things, had been doing things in I thought a very secure way for about 8 years.
Okay.
And
so did pretty well at it?
I did okay.
Yeah.
You know, when I mentioned my book, a couple of things it helped out with, and I put those have cryptocurrencies. So you have different wallets you put them in. I had things in different wallets.
All right, what happened here? How'd you get conned? Tell us about this story here.
Yeah, very important for people to understand, and that's why I'm here, because I want to help people, because I don't want what happened to me to happen anywhere else. It was one of the most devastating things that happened in my life, but it started just a normal day. I wasn't at work.
This is back in February.
It's back in February on Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And I was actually getting taxes ready for 2024 taxes, to get it ready to get to my accountant, and I got a phone call. And you know, I looked at my cell phone and said Google, and
it said Google.
It did say Google was calling me, and I looked at that and I thought, well, I know it's not Google, but I answered, and that was the number one mistake. I answered it. I shouldn't have, but they said they were Google, and they said they had frozen my account, and because someone was trying to get into my Google account, and they just wanted to make sure I was safe. And I told them I didn't believe they were Google, and they tried to explain they were, and they sent me emails, and I spent about 30 minutes.
You mean to prove that they were?
Yeah.
They're trying to prove to you, convince you.
Trying to convince me, and I spent about 30 minutes back and forth with emails, and then they finally said, look, if we sent you, you know, you got your phone, if we sent you a message on the YouTube app, would that make you feel better? I said, well, I knew Google owns YouTube, and I had gotten messages, you know, sometimes Google will tell you, hey, you know, check your YouTube app. I mean, that's happened when I worked with Google, getting something. So I thought, yeah, that'd make me feel better. And sure enough, a message came in on YouTube app saying, is this you? And then having 3 numbers, you had to pick a number, and they told me what number to pick. But they were the scammers. But they just wanted to get in.
But you didn't know it at the time.
No, I didn't know it. You know, I mean, everything.
What were they supposedly trying to help you?
Well, they said someone was
prevent you from doing.
Well, they said someone was attacking my account.
Okay,
they were trying
they're there to help you keep that from happening.
Yeah, and they said someone was trying to get into my Google account, and they wanted just to make sure that I was safe. And they said, let's get you a temporary password.
Okay.
So you know.
So to review, and you guys jump in here when you want to. So to review, You shouldn't have ever answered the phone call in the first place.
Right. I didn't know who it was.
I'm not trying to make you relive your.
Yeah. But you're going to give me trauma, Tim.
I know.
I'm
But you
trying to
shouldn't
laugh through
have. Rule number one: don't answer a phone from somebody you don't know. But number two, they pulled you along here.
Yes.
This is pretty sophisticated. They call this social engineering, don't they?
That's what they call it.
And you're alone. By that, I mean, you're not consulting with anybody as you go through this process. Is this all happening in a matter of hours?
This happened in about 30 minutes. And then finally, when I agreed to say, let's get a temporary password, and that's all they wanted to do, they said, you're safe now. I said, that's all I need to do. And I said, yeah, so you can hang up. So I hung up. And that was all, when I thought, and
so that you thought the problem was taken care of at that point?
Yeah, the problem was taken care of.
All right, what happened then?
About an hour later, I get a phone call because I have cryptocurrency and it's on what they call a crypto exchange. Coinbase is one of the biggest ones in the world.
I've heard of that, yeah.
And Coinbase, one of their mottos is, we will never call you.
Right.
But about an hour later, I got a phone call. They said, we're from, and it said Coinbase on it. And it said, my cell phone said Coinbase, and it said, we are the Coinbase asset security protection. And they said someone is trying to remove 1,999 Chainlink tokens. That's a cryptocurrency, a token. And I knew that was it was worth $38,000. And that scared me. And this is how they do the social engineering, Tim. For people, and you look back at most scams, they put fear in your life.
Yeah.
And they know it works. Now, I'm a dentist, and I know sometimes I deal with epinephrine, and we put in anesthetics to keep it lasting longer. But when you get fear, it's what they call the fight or flight mechanism. Everybody's heard of that. That's the way God made our bodies, fight or flight. You got to do something. And when you do, the epinephrine kicks in.
A chemical in your body?
Your brain, your body makes the epinephrine naturally so that you can run if you got to outrun a lion or a bear or a tiger or something, or you fight. But, for us now, when that hits us, it does minimize your ability to do rational thinking. It shuts down, because you can go in that fight or flight mechanism, your brain shuts down the rational thinking on the frontal cortex,
especially when you're isolated.
And you're isolated, not talking to anybody, and I was sitting there on the phone, and they said someone was trying to remove and they knew, this is what got me, is that they knew the exact number. Now looking back, for people when Google called me, they got into my account, the scammers got in, they knew exactly how many tokens I had. I didn't think anybody would know that but Coinbase. But when they told me, they knew exactly. But even then, I still didn't believe them. I said, I don't really believe you are. And I spent, again, about 30 to 45 minutes getting Coinbase to convince me, these scammers.
Right.
Who were posing as Coinbase.
Yeah, they were posing. I want to say that, now I know they were scammers. But they sent me emails, and they tell me, you go to any email that you have sent to Coinbase and just, use that email and do a reply to that, and
step by step, you're giving them everything they want.
Everything, and then
aren't you?
And then that's why I detail.
Aren't you, Mr. Holliday?
Yeah, yeah.
Sound like a prosecutor.
Yeah, right. I'm sweating now.
Okay, hey. Let's pause right here. We'll get back into the story in just a minute. Tell us about your book, and it's really a short book that you can read it in an hour.
Yeah.
But it's how can people?
This is, to me, it's got so much wisdom packed in there because it's up to date. It's about social engineering, like we talked about. It tells the detailed story. Go deep into detail, just exactly what happened. You can go to cryptocondbook.com, cryptocondbook.com. And I got more information there on it.
I got PTSD just reading it.
Yeah, well, and that's where it's it's a shocker because people don't. It says in the title, if you didn't pick it up, my 200K nightmare. Before it's over with, I lost $200,000, and the reason I wrote the book because I had to bring in a guy to help clean up computers, And he said, Ed, I know you're a good writer. You need to write a book, because he said, I know so many people get scammed, and they're full of guilt and full of shame. They don't want anybody to know. And he said, if you'll just write what happened to you, you'll help a lot of people. And
So what's the name of it and where to get it?
CryptoCon, my 200K nightmare, and 10 key steps to safeguard your future. You go to CryptoConbook.com. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can get the e-versions there, or, you can go to the website at CryptoConbook.com.
Yeah, we're talking to Ed Holliday, Holliday. Tony, go ahead.
So Ed, at this point, are they trying to get you to transfer crypto from one wallet to another? Is that what this ended?
Basically, what it is, what they did, again, to make me feel better, again, after they emailed me all this stuff and convinced me that they were who they said they were, which they were scammers, they were liars. And again, my mind's not thinking rationally, because I'm thinking, going back to Proverbs, pride cometh before a fall. I knew I had $38,000, and they telling me somebody was trying to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, I had more than that in there. And what you just asked, Tony, was the fact that they said, we don't want you to move it off Coinbase.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to move it from the exchange to a Coinbase wallet. And of course, my bright mind, I just said, hey, I don't have one. So we'll help you set one up.
Oh, man.
That's what they said, that's what we're here for, is to help.
Yeah.
That's why we're we got to secure those assets.
Let me ask you this. So how long did all this take to do?
Well, but when the fake people calling and saying, Coinbase, it was about an hour by the time I went through everything. And
so you lost that whole amount in an hour?
About an hour and a half by the time.
And you realized, and then you realized what had happened?
Well, what was happening was, when I was transferring, again, the scammers were using me to rob myself. I mean, I was just giving them everything they wanted. And this is the sad part, and I put it in the book for, I want, people need to read the book, because it goes in detail what to be aware of. But one of the things, if it's a horror movie, and you say, oh, don't go in that room. Well, I went in the room where the monster was. Mm-hmm. And, they said, we're having trouble, getting this transferred. And if you want us to help you quicker, if we need, if you'll just put in this, app, download this, then we can see your screen. And that was the thing I didn't know what's going on, because I just thought they were helping. But when I allowed them to see my screen, they were in my computer. And these wallets that I thought were secure, when they were talking to me, and I figured it had to be a team. I don't know how it all works, but as they were talking to me about moving my coins off the exchange to this other place, which was about maybe $50,000-$60,000, I had 7 or 8 wallets in this computer. I used this computer. I thought it was secure. I wouldn't use it for anything but my cryptocurrency. I only pulled it out for cryptocurrency. And but they had what they call a turbo app. It sucked out all my information in my computer, spit everything out, and kept the passwords and my wallets. And they were going in my wallets and wiping my wallets out. I had no clue what they were doing when they were talking to me about this one thing. And by the time I started figuring it out, I didn't see some assets. So when I said, hey, where's this Bitcoin? I don't see it now. And they said, oh, it takes 24 hours to show up. But I knew it wasn't right.
Right.
And then that's when I realized, and they knew I knew they hung up.
Did you, how'd you deal with this? Because this has all happened. Do you call the FBI at this point? Do you, how do you deal with something like this?
When it happens, of course, it's devastating. And I mean, I felt as bad as I've ever felt in my life. Because, $200,000, how much got to give the American Family Association? How much I could give the other groups and things that, I wanted to be able to do. And so, you feel with guilt, because, I did it. I was scammed, and they, the scammer stole it from me, but I didn't know what to do. And I had to go out, and I knew my wife said, well, you need to call. And I had to tell her first. That was not easy, but she took it very well. I got a great Christian wife. And And so, but she said we got to call somebody, but my mind could not think, and she didn't know anything about cryptocurrencies, but I knew I knew I needed to talk to somebody, and then but I did get a hold of some people that helped me figure out, hey, shut your computer down, get off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Once they're in the computer, she said, you got to get off the internet.
Right.
Get any computer you use, just get off the internet, and then they got a hold of and they told me, basically what I had to do the next day. Computer guy here in town that I knew of, he helped me get my computer cleaned up, get off the internet. Basically, I went and bought a little cheap computer, a whole new computer, so I could work on the internet.
But you knew at that time that was gone.
Yeah, because and he told me, and I know because they got something called a tornado app, and when the scammers use it, like if you have $1,000 of Bitcoin, they put it through that tornado app, and it divides it up in 1,000 little pieces. So it's hard, if the government really wanted to, but then I can worry about $200,000.
Yeah, because if they transferred the whole amount a large amount from one wallet to the other, the way cryptocurrency works is you would be able to see what wallet that it was transferred to, and then you may be able to derive some information as to where it's at. But yeah,
sometimes they go back and get that, and then you get all the information. But when they put in that tornado app,
it splits it up, and you'll never get it back. Yeah.
All right, you're listening to Today's Issues. Our guest in studio is Ed Holliday. Ed is talking about a nightmare that he went through last February, where he was conned out of $200,000. And he wrote a book about it to warn other people it's more than just about crypto. It's about warning how to avoid being scammed.
If you have an online banking account, you got any assets, whatever, they're coming after them. The scammers want it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Tony, I know this is your field of study for a lot of times. That is internet technology, which is not exactly the same as cybersecurity.
Right.
But at the same time, every day you read about data breaches that are taking place here and all over the world, where the information for all people is out there on the internet. Phone numbers, emails, social security numbers now are out there everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you suggest you do?
Yeah, you have to be very protective. So when you're dealing with anything online, you almost need to be paranoid. So if you don't recognize a phone number, you just don't answer it. If it is someone who, a company or your bank or whatever, who really needs to get in touch with you, they'll get to you. So you need to be paranoid and not answer. Just don't answer numbers you don't recognize.
Period.
Period. And because they can also mask themselves. So what they did to Ed is they spoofed themselves as Google.
What does spoof mean for those who
Well,
don't know?
so
Pretend you're somebody else?
you mask your phone number and the identity of your phone number, and you basically, the information you're sending when you call someone they'll mask it so that when it pops up on your phone, it says Google, or when it pops up on your phone, it says Coinbase. So the philosophy I have and that I recommend to most people is just don't answer the phone if you get a call from a number you don't recognize. Second of all, data breaches are going to happen. So everybody's information here and listening, I hate to say it, at some point your information is going to get breached. Your email address is going to get breached. Maybe not your password, which is what I'm guessing is, if I had to guess, and I don't know, Ed, you may have had someone do some more digging on how this started, but if I had to guess, Ed's information was out there from a previous data breach, an email address, and a phone number. They didn't have your password, so what they needed to do was try and contact you directly and gain access to more of that information. So your data is going to get breached. You just need to make sure that you secure your accounts to the recommended levels. So two-factor authentication can be annoying, I know. Folks, that's that code that you'll get to your phone, texted to your phone, or if you have a second, a separate authentication app. I know it's annoying trying to log into your account. You put your password in, your super secure password, and then you got to do something else. I know it's annoying, but it's there to protect you as an added level because that really does ensure that if your password was to get hacked, or if you did divulge it, by accident, or you were tricked into doing it, then there's an extra level there that the bad actor couldn't get into your account without that secondary code. So taking those precautions, you just got to be.
Nowadays too, you have to physically secure your phone or whatever, a computer. But most people, I know a person, a relative of mine recently, they were in New Orleans for a convention, and had their phone stolen. And I don't know exactly how it happened without that you know how you have to have a code. Most of us use codes to get into our phone. Right?
Yeah.
But some way or another, they were able to get into the phone while the code was not. This person did have a code, but it was like he
maybe grabbed the phone before.
Well, I think he left it in his backpack. Went to the restroom, which was 10 steps away, at a restaurant in a nice part of town. But somebody was watching, and it was probably a couple people watching. So when he went to the restroom, of course, he shouldn't have left the phone, but he did, because he didn't think anything of it. When you're 10.
We all do that.
Yeah, when you're 10 feet away from the restroom in a nice part of town, and boom, the phone's gone. Lost several $1,000s through a bank account. So what I'm saying is, I hate to bring up another thing to be worried about, but you better keep your phone secured at all time. Don't just, especially when you're leaving it where you're out in crowds and things of that nature. It's just like pickpockets.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And Tim, what Tony said, and one of the things I found out, and it's so easy. What's prevalent is the spoof emails, and people have to really, of AI now. They'll look just like I said. They make their emails look just like the real one.
Go ahead, Chris.
Something I've noticed in the last couple of days, and other people have mentioned this as well, perhaps on the show. Now I'm getting text messages from people, and it's like the scammer is trying to pass themselves as somebody you know. It's like, hey, how's your day going? Or I forgot to tell you something last night, and they want you to
They want you to say, what are you talking about? And then they know they have a live phone number.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's a scary world out there.
I got things this week from Canada. I Googled the number and found out it's somebody in some part of Canada.
Well, I've had people tell me they got texts from me I didn't send. So that's spoofing you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I guess one of the safe practices I found out is we get so many emails, but if somebody asks you for money or saying you owe,
click on this link.
You click on it, but you don't ever click on links. You can go to your bank and go in and log in.
If you get something about your credit card, go to the company directly. If you get an email from your bank or a text from your bank,
that's right.
Call them directly.
Do not click a link.
That's what we tell our employees here, even at AFA, is if you get an email or a text message from somebody and something about it just doesn't seem right, just call them. Just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, did you send me this?"
I've done that several times.
So it's just
we've had, and businesses have this every day, all over the country, all around the world. Really, we've had people try to give us fake invoices.
I know my dentist office. They'll get calls or we'll get emails saying, "Oh, you owe this. You owe this phone company. You owe this," and it's all scams. So much you have to be looking out.
Well, they can make them with AI. They can make them look so real. It's like.
Absolutely.
We've had at least a couple, not many, but we've had a couple of attempts at fake invoices. But that's a big deal around the world.
Yeah.
So the book is named what, and where do you get it, Ed?
CryptoCon, my 200K nightmare. You go to CryptoCon to book.
CONNED.
Yes.
I'm translating your Southern English for people in Oregon right now.
Thank you, Tim.
CryptoCon, CONNED.
Book.com.
Book.com by our guest, Dr. Ed Holliday, Holliday. We're sorry you went through this, brother, but the Lord saw you through it.
Yeah.
And
I'm alive and well, but all those have been scammed. Life is good afterwards when you put your faith in the Lord.
Amen. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
They will thrust a cell phone in your face. If you ask a question, they'll surround you with cameras. They'll scream at you. They'll try to get you to commit violence. I believe God is giving us a little bit of a glimpse into what life without Him would be like.
A Disciple's View with Todd Herman. Critical information from a faith-enriching perspective. Weekdays at noon Central on AFR. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh. At least one person is dead in Washington as flash flooding hits the state, prompting evacuation orders in some areas. Fox's Britta Merwin tells us the flooding will be spreading.
We've had multiple levee failures. A lot of road infrastructure has crumbled underneath the pressure of the rain. And we still have rain that's falling at this hour. A powerful atmospheric river is just pointed at the Pacific Northwest. The change up here, because again, this is an AR4. They're rated 1 out of 4. Same level as what we had last week. But the difference here is that we're spreading it out over multiple states. Last week, everything was at the state of Washington. For this go around, we're going to pull a lot of that heavy rain also into the state of Oregon and Northern California.
President Trump will address the nation tonight, where he's expected to talk about the progress made during his second term. A Fox News poll, however, found that about 76% of Americans aren't satisfied with the job he's doing on lowering prices. Charles Payne of Making Money on Fox Business was asked when Americans could start feeling relief.
I think the first quarter of next year, the first 3 months. Yeah, we'll start to feel it almost immediately. And a lot of these things, a lot of these deals that were promised, the trillions of dollars, the manufacturing, all of that stuff is going to start coming back because companies will have expensing issues that they'll be able to take advantage of. There'll be an urgency factor. So we'll start to see it as the year goes. But out the gate, we should start to see it.
President Trump is once again ramping up pressure on Venezuela, labeling the government a foreign terrorist organization and ordering a full blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going to and from the country. Jillian Turner has more from the State Department.
President Trump's announcement of this naval blockade is the most forward-leaning, aggressive military maneuver we have yet seen in this campaign. He wrote on Truth Social overnight, quote, "Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It'll only get bigger until such time as they return to the U.S. all the oil, land, and other assets they previously stole from us. The illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from these stolen oil fields to finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and even kidnapping."
The White House is firing back after an article in Vanity Fair made it sound like Chief of Staff Susie Wiles was criticizing President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. Fox News contributor Joe Concha says, as usual, a liberal publication deliberately took Wiles' comments out of context.
Why would one of the most loyal people to President Trump, before, during, and after the campaign into this second term, suddenly throw people under the bus unless these quotes were taken out of context?
The ISIS-inspired terrorist attacks at Bondi Beach, Australia was not some radicalized Muslims going off the deep end. A South African rabbi warns it was perpetrated by normal Muslims and is likely one of many deadly terror attacks to come.
The father and son duo fired into a crowd of Jews celebrating Hanukkah at Bondi Beach, Australia for 20 minutes. Killing at least 16 and wounding more than 40. Australian authorities are calling for more gun control, but Chief Rabbi of South Africa, Dr. Warren Goldstein, says more Muslim control is what's needed.
The mass murder terror attack in Sydney, Australia, was not simply an anti-Semitic incident that got out of control. It was a professional military operation conducted as part of the global jihadist war being waged on every continent.
He says Aussies tolerate an environment that indulges the demonization of Israel and Jews on the streets, that allows people to chant "Gas the Jews" on the city bridge, that tolerates and even endorses the genocidal slogan "From the river to the sea."
Globalize the Intifada means exactly that, hunting Jews everywhere. It is not a protest movement. It is not resistance. It is a jihad of murder, terror, and destruction.
Rabbi Goldstein warns not to mistake this for an overexuberant protest or a call for a Palestinian state.
The global version has nothing to do with a Palestinian state. It never has. If it were about a state, there would have been one in 1948, in 1967, in 2001, and many times since.
He says they're coming for you next.
Their slogan says it all. First the Saturday people, then the Sunday people.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
More news online at afn.net and on the AFN mobile app. I'm Rusty Pugh.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildmon and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network on this Wednesday, December the 17th. I'm Tim with Tony and Fred, and now Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, everybody.
Rocking the...
Got the Paisley today.
Paisley? The purple.
Purple Paisley.
Royalty. Purple Paisley.
Royalty. Paisley, purple Paisley.
So Steve's going to break out in Prince for us now here. All right, so thanks for listening to AFR, everybody. We did mention that President Trump will be addressing the nation tonight from the Oval Office. True?
He will. He wants to talk about the economy. His numbers in the economy, his polling is dipping, and he's needing to shore that up. So
how's he going to do that, Steve?
Well,
what's he going to tout?
He can point to a lot of things like gas prices.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about affordability.
Anchovies are down.
Anchovies?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
He could cite that.
Good. I guess he could.
That means they had to be upped in the first place.
Well, I know. Anchovies were skyrocketing. They're down now. A lot of people don't know that.
People talk about now the buzzword is affordability.
Yep.
But there's no metric to measure what affordability is. It's not like a percentage of whatever.
There is in my house.
We
can't afford that.
Yeah, it's how people feel about that. And what people, when they say that it's not affordable, what they're saying is it doesn't cost the same as it did 3 years ago. A lot of things, you're never going to get them back to what it cost 3 years ago. So you got to convince people that it's better than it would be under a Democrat scheme.
Yeah.
So that's what he'll be doing tonight. At least I think.
The fact that he's doing this suggests to me that the White House understands, and the Republican Party understands, they're going to have to do a better job of messaging with the American public. Otherwise, this tag of you've caused this crisis of unaffordability to be stuck on Trump, right?
You know, it's amazing. Stop and think about California for a moment. They raised their minimum wage to, what was it, $20 an hour, $30 an hour, something like that. They're so proud of that out there, Governor Newsom. But then they wonder where the company is going to get the money to pay their employees $30 an hour.
No, the company wonders.
Yes.
Newsom doesn't care.
Newsom doesn't care. But they raised the prices of the hamburgers. And then people complain, hey, last year I was paying $4 for this Big Mac. Now I have to pay $7. Donald Trump is to blame.
Yeah.
It's just, you got to think about these things. And people many times don't think about why the prices are going up.
Yeah.
All right, what's your first story, Steve?
I got some good news.
Give us some good news.
There's a little bit of chaos going on at the top of the Trump administration, but if you go down the line to his departments, a lot of good things are happening, specifically in the Department of Defense, or the War Department as they're calling it. Pete Hegseth has made an announcement. He said that he is going to revamp the chaplaincy. It's gotten out of control. Cut 19.
I'm here to tell you about a real problem facing our nation's military. It's one you're probably not aware of, but it's a really important one. And it's been going on for far too long. The weakening of our chaplain corps. You see, chaplains are intended to be the spiritual and moral backbone of our nation's forces. In an atmosphere of political correctness and secular humanism, Chaplains have been minimized, viewed by many as therapists instead of ministers. Faith and virtue were traded for self-help and self-care. If you need proof, just look at the current Army Spiritual Fitness Guide. In well over 100 pages, it mentions God one time. That's it. It mentions feelings 11 times. It even mentions playfulness, whatever that is, 9 times. It's unacceptable and unserious, so we're tossing it. I have a directive right here that I will sign today to eliminate the use of the Army Spiritual Fitness Guide effective immediately. Our chaplains are chaplains, not emotional support officers, and we're going to treat them as such.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And
amen, brother.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see any more. A lot of New Age stuff is out. He was talking about there being 17 or 18 different spiritual categories that that the Army has put up, and in 5 or 6 of them, nobody claims them. They're just something that the Army made up. The vast majority of people fall within about 5 or 6 of these things: Protestant, Catholic, Jewish, whatever. And so they're streamlining that. And the chaplain corps will follow suit. They will no longer be hamstrung in what they can say and do.
Wow, good.
That's good. Yeah, tolerance, Fred. This aspect of tolerance and the push that the military has had for any and everything, and classifying any and everything as religious beliefs or, good living and good vibes, whatever you want to assign to it. It's kind of watered everything down to where there is up until recently, into what Pete Hegseth is doing, there's been no need. I mean, what are chaplains really providing to service members? So it's kind of watered everything down. I'm glad to see that there's a recognition now of the importance of dogmatic, religious belief. I'm talking specifically about Christianity, obviously, and the importance that has for service members, and that real, true biblical help through these chaplains, through the chaplain corps, is so important for those who are in the military and the things that they struggle with.
Well, Joe Biden, when he was president, kind of set the table on his agenda. Remember, even if you were considered a conservative Christian, you were a suspect.
Right.
You were kind of, there was a circle put around you that you are a dangerous individual because your belief in absolute truth.
There was leaked training where there was, Christians were targeted, Catholics.
Yes. If you believed in the absolute truth that life begins at conception, you're a problem.
Right.
And of course, that had to feed through the chaplaincy that you cannot counsel people this way. You cannot counsel them about the issue of abortion. All of those sorts of things. And it sounds like Hegseth is ready to take that kind of pressure off. So chaplains can now counsel according to Scripture,
right,
and scriptural truth.
He's bringing Scripture back. He's making chaplains great again.
Yes.
Well, do you remember back in 2022, we were all surprised one day when the FBI and CBS, I believe, or one of the major news networks, showed up at Mar-a-Lago, and the police kicked down the doors and went in and searched Mar-a-Lago looking for classified documents. And
did they really kick down the doors?
Well, they went in force.
Metaphorically.
It was close. They were armed with a SWAT team.
Gotcha.
And so they probably metaphorically kicked down the doors, but they did demand in.
They had a search warrant.
They did have a search warrant, but it turns out they didn't have probable cause.
Okay.
The FBI, according to a document that has been given to by the Justice Department, the FBI did not believe it had probable cause to raid President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in 2022, but moved forward amid pressure from the Biden Justice Department. An official
who's saying this now?
This is it's been released by the committee, whatever the committee. James Comer, is that his committee? He's the one that's putting. Here it is. Kash Patel says, it's true, we just turned over documents to Capitol Hill to be made public, showing the FBI told DOJ they did not have a probable cause for raiding President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago.
Wow.
The DOJ just didn't care. They used a different way to say that,
So
but they did it anyway.
The Department of Justice, for those who don't know, is over the FBI.
Yes.
Okay. They're housed in the same building, the leadership in Washington, D.C. I've passed by it many times. It's called the Department of Justice. So in this case, the special prosecutor, well, I don't know if he was there before or during or after this incident took place, but we all remember when the FBI, this is FBI, right?
Yes.
Raided Mar-a-Lago, President Trump's residence, and took a bunch of stuff. Okay. They were saying that Trump took stuff illegally. That was the accusation when he left the White House. And so now what you're saying is the FBI has discovered, the current FBI has discovered email back and forth that the FBI, who was responsible for the execution of the raid, and they did have a search warrant. I want to say that for what it's worth. It is worth a lot in America. That the FBI is pushing back against the Justice Department, saying there's not enough evidence for us to go in and do what you're asking us to do. And the Department of Justice, which was Biden's Justice Department, the AG, was what was the guy's name?
Yeah. Garland.
Merrick
Garland. Garland said, what they're saying is Garland said, well, we don't care, go ahead anyway.
Yeah, and that is why today, as we're sitting here, that's why Prosecutor Jack Smith, Joe Biden's prosecutor, A.G. Garland's prosecutor, Jack Smith, is behind closed doors at a hearing because of what Kash Patel is talking about there, that they've got these documents saying the FBI we don't think we have probable cause to do this.
Well, okay, and now you don't throw things at me, okay? Trump. In this case, I'm talking about. I'm about to be critical of President Trump in just a little bit, and please,
I'm
please
getting ready on the
understand.
keyboard. I'm getting on the keyboard.
Yeah, please
right
don't understand.
now. I'm ready, Tim.
I'm not a traitor, okay? But I just want to say this: President Trump bragged about taking this stuff from the White House and boxes of it, saying I could do anything I wanted to because I was president of the United States, so I had the authority to do what you're saying I don't have the authority to do. See, so again, I'm not saying it was right by any means. I'm just telling you that his view was, I don't care what I have; it was mine to keep. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that an unfair characterization of what happened there?
Well, and I think more people would have been somewhat acceptable of the Mar-a-Lago raid, we'll call it, if they had said to Joe Biden, look at all these documents in your garage, President Biden. That doesn't look right. And they
they only found that, though, after they raided Mar-a-Lago, right?
Yes, but still, what did they say about Joe? You know, remember that report that came out? You know, he's an old guy. He didn't know they were there. We're just going to forget about that.
Right.
Remember, he was interviewed, and they said of Joe Biden, he couldn't put the details together. So, gee whiz, we're not going to prosecute him.
Yeah. It was the double standard.
Yeah, I think that's what people have.
People got a problem with the double standard.
Optics mean a lot, and I remember the optics of a helicopter shot down there. It was early morning, it was still dark, and there was police vehicles all over with their lights flashing in front of Mar-a-Lago as if they were going after some cocaine dealer.
This is what you call
what they wanted to portray.
This is what you call a classic backfire, okay? Because one reason President Trump is in the Oval Office today is because of that. Because a lot of Americans viewed this as a double standard and a, what do you call it, a perversion of justice.
Yeah, an abuse of power.
And all that favor, they've tried, what do you call it when you, lawfare? Mm-hmm. All that worked in President Trump's favor with a majority of Americans. Mm-hmm. Is that fair, Tony? Is that right, you think?
Yeah. It's, to me, I understand it is kind of coming back a little bit, but I'm I'm not optimistic that that anything's actually going to happen to
Cash
the people.
Patel's a deep state guy?
Well, no, I'm just saying I don't think anything of consequence is going to happen to anybody who actually approved this. There should be consequences. I mean, you cannot normalize weaponizing the FBI and the Department of Justice, no matter who's in power, no matter what administration is in office. You cannot normalize this, and until you start punishing people, until you stop having behind closed doors depositions with special counsels or attorney generals, until you start saying, hey, you're going to be charged with seditious action, seditious behavior, abuse of power, and you start putting people in jail, nothing's going to change. So Trump will do the same thing. I have a feeling, at some point, if he wanted to, he would, have an at-dawn raid for somebody.
No, he is a very forgiving person.
Well, I'm just saying.
I think of Trump, I think the word mercy. He is,
I'm just saying.
He said that, Charlie Kirk.
You can come up with a reason to raid anybody's house, and I just don't like the precedent that it's set.
Well, Susie Wiles, the chief of staff now for President Trump, and there's a story we haven't talked about yet, her interview with Vanity Fair. But I read some of the quotes where she basically said, I gave President Trump 90 days to exact his vengeance on his political opponents. And then he said, then it was time to move on. Something to that effect. It was to your point, when you start, Trump is the type of person that if you do this against me, I'm going to do it back to you twice as hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's a good trait in a lot of ways for a businessman and a politician or a presidential situation, but not always. It's not always the best way to handle things.
If you commit, as Christians, we don't advocate. Just saying, we don't advocate for vengeance or revenge. If there's probable,
we can watch from the sideline and cheer, though, right?
Well, no comment. If there is probable cause, I am all for enforcing the law. Right? If someone has broken the law, then by all means go and prosecute to the fullest extent of it. But this, I don't like this person. This lawfare. I don't like this person.
Yeah, it backfired on the Democrats.
It did.
It's one of the big reasons Trump is in the White House today. Next story.
Well, why don't we talk about the Susie Wiles thing? Because one of the great responses, this is a politician who knows what he's doing. One of the accusations out of these Vanity Fair articles.
Tell people what you're talking about who don't know.
Okay, Vanity Fair, Susie Wiles, who's the president's chief of staff, granted an interview to Vanity Fair.
Why, we don't know.
We don't know why, because it turned into a hit piece. She says that she publicly has said it's disingenuously framed hit piece, she calls it. Significant context was disregarded, and much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. So they nitpicked and found a way to
who granted this interview with this flaming liberal magazine?
I don't know.
I want to know who did that first.
Yeah,
who did that?
We don't know. I don't know if it was Caroline Leavitt. She's probably have something to answer for. One of the charges in the article was that J.D. Vance is a conspiracy theorist hack. Right? He's just all about conspiracy theorists, trying to make him look kind of silly. Well,
who said that?
Susie Wiles. She said that he dwells on conspiracy theories.
I just listen. I'm not trying to defend Vanity Fair for being liberal. Right. I'm just saying, Susie Wiles, Trump's chief of staff, did say
she did
that Vice President Vance is a conspiracy theorist.
Is
that true? Is that true, Mr. Jordan?
True. It is true. That's what they said. Okay. This is his response when he was asked about it. Cut 8.
Sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the President of the United States, and that makes her the best White House chief of staff that I think the President could ask for. If any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, if she was the one who gave the interview, she's at fault, Susie Wiles.
Yeah, she does bear fault for it. I'm sure that she's
unless you go in eyes wide open and you say, listen, I'm going to give this interview to a very liberal magazine, but I know they're going to slant it, but I'm going to do it anyway. For what reason, I'm not sure exactly.
In which case, you record the whole interview and you release your own version of the interview.
I haven't read the interview, but I've read portions of it, the portions that's making the news now. I would say I kind of read it as she's kind of making fun of everybody. So it's not necessarily to be taken seriously. When she says the Vice President Vance is a conspiracy theorist, well, we all are. Sometimes about things. So that's disqualifying as a. She said President Trump has an alcoholic's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Well, doesn't mean he's an alcoholic. I think she's saying he's kind of all over the place sometimes, right? And he even said, "I do have an alcoholic's personality." So, anyway,
I don't know when people are going to learn their lesson. Like you said, why in the world you would agree as Trump's chief of staff, why you would agree to an interview with Vanity Fair, going in thinking you're going to get a fair shake. That they're gonna
maybe she wants to be a model
give
when she
proper
leaves the White
context.
House.
Yeah, I don't know why in the world you would do this. I mean, I'm sure they sat her down. I'm sure they were.
Oh yeah,
real smooth. Hey, what about Vance?
Yeah,
you know
tell
what?
us about something so
He's an
funny about
interesting guy.
Vance.
Yeah, tell us something about that. And then they go back and they phrase it however they want to. Fred, how many interviews has AFN done with Democratic chiefs of staff? If anybody reached out to us and accepted interviews,
they don't want to talk to us.
Yeah, okay. And there's a reason why. You just don't go into opposition.
Yeah.
And my dad,
my
dad, the founder of this ministry, he was well known in conservative circles as being, a spokesperson for conservative causes for 3 decades, and he got to the point where he said, "This doesn't benefit me at all to do an interview with the New York Times.
No,
why do I want to spend 2 hours with them when I know they're gonna do with the And he would also he got tired of doing television interviews where the television program would chop up video clips of what he said to make him say something he didn't say.
Yeah.
Right.
And he said, "You know what? I'm not doing that anymore." He said, if Ted Koppel wants to do a live interview on ABC, I'll do it. But I'm not going to do something that they can slice up and make it to. So
and all of that is why he started American Family News.
Right.
Yeah, to combat the liberal news bias.
So he could get the message out with integrity.
That's right. That's right. You're listening to today's issues on AFR. We got about 3 minutes left here.
I want to give some props to a young lady named Frances Stott, who's a high school student at Tumwater High School in Washington. She was punished for misgendering a guy in her locker room. We're not going to be able to play this whole clip, but let's start clip 18.
Last February, when I was 15 years old, there was an 18-year-old man in my locker room who was also playing against my girls' basketball team. Because of this, I chose to sit out and protect myself. When I expressed my concerns to my principal, Zach Suderman, as well as my athletic director, Jordan McGrath, I was told by them that my feelings didn't matter and that they were not going to admit or even acknowledge that this man was in fact a man. They were not going to do anything to stop it, and as a result of me saying that this man was a man, I was investigated by the WIAA in Tumwater School District for harassment and bullying and for misgendering this individual. I will tell you all right now, there are only 2 genders, and that is male and female.
She spoke out at the school board meeting, much to the delight of the people that knew she was coming and supported her.
Democratic Party can never say again, we are the party that supports women's rights.
No.
They can never say that again.
No, because they're for men being able to play women's sports.
Yes.
You can't be for men or boys being able to play against girls or women and say you're pro-woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Fred.
You bet.
Steve, we appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thanks to Doc Holliday for the interview we did earlier with him. And then, let's see, Chris Woodward was in studio, Brent Creeley, our producer, and Cole Green on the video cam over there, who caught my Clark Griswold dress up earlier in the hour. We'll see you back tomorrow, everybody. Have a great day.